Hello, everyone. I just need to make sure that you can hear my voice. If you can see me, just react to me or send me on the chat that you can hear my voice clearly. Okay, I'll just give some more minutes for others to join, giving the chance for others to join. Then we will start our session today. In the meantime, if you have any questions, you need to ask any explanations that you are missing, please let me know. I will just give 2 or 3 minutes for others to join before I start our practical lesson for today. Can any one of you type anything on the chat to make sure that it is available and is visible for everyone? Anything on the chat text, please. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim. Just giving 1 or 2 more minutes for others. Maybe they will be appearing and we have more attendees. After that, I will go on and start working with our session today. Let me ask you something. Did you have the availability to get or the ability to get to the Azure portal? Did you receive your accounts or did you have accounts for Azure or not yet? Is the same answer for everyone? Farha said not yet. Khawla said that she has. Yes, we have some people who have accessibility to Azure, others not. Please make sure that you have accessibility to Azure because today I'm going to start explaining something and giving you an exercise that you should start performing. I will give you all the resources and all you need from your side is to have an accessible account to Azure. It is supposed that from the university they give you credentials, usernames, and passwords that gives you the ability to do that. Please, people who get the accessibility, please tell others how did you get that. Share it with us or share it privately with each other in order so that others can benefit from this feature and start working on practical things that we should be working on. So please, again, the way that you shared or that you had access to Azure, please share it among each other and let them all know how did you get the access, where did you get the access credentials from, okay? So I will be starting our session for today. In the last session, we have explained and talked about machine learning. What I need to explain today is some examples about or some things related to machine learning, some basics. Then we'll head to an exercise where I will demonstrate things on how to create a machine learning job using the automated machine learning. I will explain a bit about the machine learning types. You will need to add some knowledge to that. I will give you the related resources so that you will be understanding what we are going to start doing from next week related to our main target, which is manipulating a video coming from any resource in order how to we work with that and how do we use machine learning with that. So let's start heading to our presentation. So here, as you can see on this screen that I'm showing, we have now explained, yes, the last lesson, what is machine learning, what does it do, and we went through some demonstrations in the Azure portal. So all we need to do here is to understand that we have the machine learning with two main types, the supervised machine learning and the unsupervised machine learning. What are these? These are the types where I give or I ask the machine learning or teach the machine learning on how to treat the data I am giving to it. The data can be of several types. Whatever data we have some related machine learning algorithms that can be used with that. We have under the supervision machine learning, we have what is called the regression and we have the classification. While in the unsupervised machine learning, we have the clustering. The main thing we need to understand is that when we are using the supervised machine learning, it means that we are using data with labels or with features. Features like data coming in numbers, if we're talking about tables, and pictures with some labeling that defines the picture. This picture belongs to an apple. This picture belongs to a banana. Here we have labels for these pictures. And we have the regression that deals with numbers, and we have the classification that deals with images and pictures and things related or something like that. So this is the way we give the data or we label the data in that way in order to get the machine understand the data we are dealing with. But when we have data that is not labeled, it is the role or the duty of the machine learning to understand or to create the link between the data and the features within. This is something we are going to see in practice, so don't worry about anything related to that. Here, we just need to understand the main differences or the two main categories or types of machine learning. The supervised, where we have data with labels, so the model will be trained on labeled data sets, which means that each training example is paired with an output label. The algorithm, the algorithm then will learn how to map the inputs and the suitable output or the correct output for that. Like, let's say we have an example, like let's say we have predicting of house prices. All we need to give data is like a table that contains the area and the price of the houses with the house sizes and or the size of the house per meter, how much is the square meter price. So I can just give the algorithm or give the machine learning this information that is labeled by the area, the house size or the square meter price, and then the machine learning will start combining this information. It will give you direct answers to direct questions, and it would have the ability to predict. Another example, let's say, is car rental company that rents cars during the different seasons of the year or the different winter, autumn, summer, and we just give the peak times for that. We give enough data for the model, and then we can ask the model to be trained on that data, and it will start giving us answers. As I told you, things will be much easier when we start giving examples and start working on that. So do not worry. Related to unsupervised learning, the model will be trained on unlabeled datasets. So we have data, but without labels, meaning that the algorithm or the machine learning will start or will try to find the patterns and relationships on these data without any specific guidance. For example, like when we give data related to uh, medical tests. We have, let's say, a lot of information of medical tests like sugar levels, heart, blood rate, or we call it the blood rate, and different things like pictures of different types of, let's say, let's take an example of penguins. As you can see here, we have the penguins. We all know that we have a penguin. But when we go deeply, we can see that we have different types of penguins. So all we need to do is to give the model the picture of that type or one of the type or all the types and the names of these penguins. Let's say Siberian penguin, European penguin, Asian penguin, or whatever. We display or just give all these pictures to the model and with different things like the size, the wing size, the nose size, everything related to that penguin. And the model here will start digging into this information and creating the relation between this information in order, if we need to ask something or predict something based on this information, the penguin or the other type of animals or objects or whatever. If let's take this example into another thing like buildings, we know that all buildings are contained of different floors with windows, with doors, or whatever. So all we need to give is a big data containing different pictures of different buildings and just giving just a name or one feature of this, and then the uh, model will start predicting different things that all buildings are contained of or consist of different floors or whatever. So uh, if you have any questions, just wait a bit until we have more details or more examples or things that I will show to you in the exercise that we are going to use or start performing today. So just give me a small time in order that you can understand what I'm talking about. So here again, what we are going to use today is we are going to create an AML job, automated machine learning job. So while we perform this job or this exercise I'm going to show you today, you will be getting and understanding better what I am talking about. In order to start working with the Azure Machine Learning Studio, we need to have access to Azure. As I told you, we are going to start creating a model, selecting the model type, selecting the machine learning type we're going to use. We are going to use it today, the Auto ML, which will automatically select the algorithm it needs based on the data we are going to give. After that, on the next sessions, it will be our role to decide which machine learning algorithm we are going to use and every detail related to that. So with what we should understand, I will go directly now to Azure. Let me show you the Azure portal again. Here I'm opening the Edge and I will go with portal portal.azure.com. Okay, so here is the portal of Azure. As I told you, and as I have heard from you, that you now have the accessibility to Azure. So what I want from you now, the ones who had the accessibility to Azure, is to tell others how did they get this accessibility to Azure, and what are the resources or sources in the university that supplied you with these credentials. To make sure that you have an active Azure subscription, when you log into Azure, you will have to use a username and a password. This will be provided to you by the university, as I guess, and a password that you will select or change whenever you first log in to Azure. Then you will be able to log into this environment that I'm showing to you here. This is the Azure portal. This is the Azure environment. Here we are going to start creating our resources. The resources that we should understand about, or the things that we should have basic understanding about, is that the first thing that we should have a subscription. We should check on the subscription that we have and make sure that our subscription is active. What we do is whenever we log on to Azure, to Portal, we can type subscription. As you can see, I started typing SUB, it directly found the subscription, or you can navigate directly from the GUI, the graphical user interface, and you can see the subscription. You should make sure that your subscription is active. As you can see here, check that your subscription is active. Here, as you can see, my subscription is an MSDN platform. You should have your own subscription. It is not the same name. It should be a subscription that you have. And here it should be active. So now I make sure that my subscription is active. So now I can create the resources that I need. I will again summarize everything, because you should understand, have a basic understanding, is that we are going through our learning or training sessions, we are going to study how do we create machine learning jobs. So is Azure only for machine learning and the AI? No, Azure is a platform where I can create different resources. As I told you earlier, in Azure, I can create different resources. I will just demonstrate in front of you things that are important. As you can see here, we have what is called all resources. Let's see what resources that I have here. As you can see here, I have different resources. I have an AI, which is an AI service. I have storage. I have maybe virtual networks. I have virtual machines. I have network security groups. So let's make things easy. Imagine that Azure is a platform that gives you the ability to create mostly any virtual hardware or resource you might need, starting from a computer, going up into a server, going up into a network or multiple networks with different things like, I don't know if you are familiar with security devices, like a firewall, like a network security group, like also we can have anything that you might come up to your mind that you might need to use, you can create with Azure. So I will go here and will press on the create a resource. I will just explain two things before we head to the exercise so that you can be working or seeing things and understanding what I want. So the first thing we should have is an Azure or Azure subscription, an Azure active subscription. Then we can start doing whatever we want. Okay, this is the subscription. I made sure that I have the subscription and it is active. Here I can create different resources. As you can see here, this is a demonstration or an example of what things I can do. We have here things related to machine learning, things related to analytics, which means that I might create an environment and I need a software to analyze this environment. It analyzes the hardware, it analyzes the software I'm using. So it is an analytical environment that analyzes everything. I can have compute, which are the things that we might be using a lot, like virtual machines, like uh, functions, like containers, like whatever we might need. As you can see here, we have different things that we can create. I can create Windows Server, I can create a virtual machine, whatever. Here are the containers, even for the people who needs to create a database. As you can see here, we have SQL. Also, let me show you, we have MySQL, and we have different types of databases. If I am a developer, I know I will understand what is in here. I can create anything related to development. As you can see here, we have the IT and management tools, we have the networking, we can create different network resources, starting from a simple virtual network up to very complex and anything that you might see or you might need. Let me ask you one question. You are students, okay? I can't sign in from this device because I don't have a token. Let me answer you all the questions when we start the exercise, because we have a stage we should know wait, and will I be answering all the questions that you might be asking. But please, when we start, just again, raise your hand. Let me answer the question you are asking, Mr. Muhammad Yusuf. Okay? So as I told you, we even have a lot of things here. The important things that we need to understand in our labs or in our environment that we are going to use, we are going to create an Azure machine learning job. We need to understand that we need to have something like the storage. The storage is a very important thing, or the storage resource is a very important resource. We should understand what is it. The storage, as I will type here storage. Okay, this is a storage account. Whenever you need to, why do we need to create a storage account? Storage account is like purchasing a storage, a hard disk, a network storage, network attached storage, or any different types of storages that you might need. Solange, you just added something on the chat. Do you want to comment on that resource that you created?
Okay, thank you. It's not a resource. This is the free Azure credits. We put it last time as well, so that student can log in with their university account, whether it's Qatar University or UDST, so that they can apply with you, Khalid.
Okay, thank you, Solange. So I will continue with what I was talking about. So this is what I told you about, is creating a storage account. When you create a storage account, you are creating like a storage place, a hard disk or an online or cloud storage that your jobs, your files, your databases will be stored on. So this is the storage account. In order to create any resource you need to create on Azure, these are basics. Please bear with me because we're going to go to the exercise. Whenever you need to create anything, any resource, you should create first what is called the resource group. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. I will go back here because I was on a specific category. I would type a resource group. So to create any resource, to create even a small resource or the resources we are going to use during our exercises, we should have what is called a resource group. A resource group is a container, a virtual container, a virtual folder that will be including all our resources. We might create one resource group or we might create 1,000 resource groups. This is up to you and how you manage your resources. You might need one resource group, or you might even need more than one resource group. But what you should understand is that whenever we need to create any resource on Azure, we should create a virtual resource group. So let me head back again to the presentation. And here are the things that we are going to see today in our exercise, which is creating an Azure machine learning. And we'll be doing that. I will send you the exercise link. This is our exercise. It's exploring machine learning and Azure machine learning on MS Learn. This is where we are going to be heading. I will show you the exercise. This is the exercise. I will drop the link on the chat. So when you have time, you can start doing it by yourself. So now the link is on the chat. I will open this. If you can open this, you can open them now from your computers in order to walk with me on the exercise. If you need to ask anything before I start the exercise related to what I have explained, or you can wait a bit until we reach the level where we can have some chat. If you have any urgent questions before I start on the exercise, please let me know. Let me just again open the exercise in front of you. This is how the exercise looks. When you press on start, you will be seeing this and you should be understanding what you are seeing. This is the exercise. It explains every step you should do. All you need to do is to read and then start performing. Don't jump into the keyboard and the mouse directly. Just read the step and you will be doing well. Don't rush, don't hurry before you read all the things that are related to the step you are doing, then it would be good for you. So here we are going in this exercise, we will be using the automated machine learning feature that is in Azure Machine Learning to train and evaluate a machine learning model. This exercise should take approximately up to 30 minutes to complete. So these are the steps. You can open them from your side. I will put them away here and I will read and start performing these exercises on Azure portal. Okay, so the first thing it asks you to do is to sign into the Azure portal, the step that I have already done. I will do it again. I will close this one. How do I log to Azure? I would type portal.azure.com and I will share this with you on the chat. This is the way I log into the portal. So this is the way I log into the portal. This is the URL. I will press enter. Since this is my laptop, I use it every day, so it logs me directly to the portal. In your case, for the first time, it will ask you for the username and the password you are trying to log in. Here I can see this is my username, which is horani-khalid@outlook.com. So these are the credentials and the password. Of course, I'm not going to tell you what is my password. So this is the first step, is log in to Azure portal. The next step, it asks you to create a resource. So it will ask me now to create a resource. This resource is called machine learning. So how do I do that? Simply, I would go to create a resource. And if I find it here directly, I can select it. If not, I can just search for that, or I can copy the name from the exercise, copy and paste here. Okay, as you can see, it found it. I will select it and it will take me to the marketplace where are all the resources. The resource I'm talking about is the Azure Machine Learning. Here I have a button that I can create, and I will select it and create. So this is the first step, creating an Azure Machine Learning. Here I will show you again the exercise steps just to make things clearer for you. As you can see here, I have signed into the portal and I have selected create a resource. Okay, as you can see here, it is telling me what to fill in each of the fields that I am seeing here in the portal. So it is saying that in the subscription, it says that select your Azure subscription. So it is automatically here. In the resource group, here, if you have already created one, you can select it from here, or you can create one or create a new one. I will create a new one. I would call it 231024 ML. Okay, this is the resource group I'm going to use. I type RG in order to know that it is a resource group. So this is the name. This is a naming for you. Okay. Okay, here the workspace details. So in order to start working with machine learning, I would need to create something called the workspace. This workspace is the place where I create my Azure machine learning resources or jobs or tasks that I want. So it is saying that enter a name for your workspace. So I can enter the name. I will call it WS Workspace. Also, I will call it by the date of today, 23/10/2024. This is the name of the workspace I am going to create. Configure your basic workspace settings, whatever. Here is the region where I am going to put these resources. The advice is that make it to the nearest place to your location. These locations are where Microsoft has data centers. As you can see, Microsoft has a lot of data centers and almost in every place in the world. We have 60 plus data centers all around the world. The first advice is to select the nearest or the closest geographical region to you. Another something that you should pay attention to is the availability of the service you are going to create. Now we are talking the automated machine learning. It is available almost and everywhere, but you should check for that. Third thing you should check for if you are creating environments or creating jobs is the cost of this service. No, the cost is not the same in all the data centers or in all the location. It might differ. It might be more expensive or less expensive in different areas. Myself, I would like to select always, it is up to you, but I like to select East US. Okay, this is East US. So the region is where my resources are going to be deployed or used. Here on the next selections, we have these four: the storage account where my data will be stored, the key vault is the place or the pocket where my passwords will be hidden. So it will be creating this key vault automatically. It will be also creating an application inside automatically, and it will be creating also a container. A container is a mini computer that includes all the things I need to run my work job or machine learning job. So a container is a mini computer, let's imagine it like that, that contains the necessary operating system features and necessary processing things that are needed, the memory, the processing, whatever, in order to perform this job. So as it says, leave all these as is, and the container registry, do not create one, because later it will be created by the job we are going to do. Then after that, I am good. As again, I will show you that as it says, After that, review and create, everything is done here. I will press on the review and create. It might take around 1 to 2 minutes to create this machine learning job in Azure. It is now creating the workspace. This is the first step. Now everything is passed. Let's press on create. Here you will be seeing in the notification area what is going on. If you like, you can see deployment in progress. It will give you details about what is happening. Muhammad, while this is being deployed, let me see the screen. Interaction, the portal encountered the issue with attempting to retrieve. Muhammad, please, can you check the date and time on your computer, please? If it differs, it might not give you the ability to log in. Okay. We'll come back to you, Muhammad. Now, as you can see, the resource is ready. I will press on this, go to resource. Now, after the resource is ready, I can now press on launch the studio. This is the studio. I am going to start creating my Azure machine learning. Okay. Here you can see this is the machine learning, or this is the workspace I have created. And here are the jobs that I can create. Here it says that in Azure machine learning, you should see your workspace. It is already seen. Now let's start with automating, use an automated machine learning to train a model. So automated machine learning enables you or gives you the ability to try multiple algorithms and parameters to train multiple models and identify the one for your data. Now we're going to use the automated machine learning, but on the next sessions, we are going to use the machine learning algorithm that we are going to select for our video processing target. So here we are going to use an automated machine learning in order to do something related to a company that rents bicycles. So as it says now, create a new automated machine learning. I will press on the new, or I can go with automated machine learning selected from here, and I would select a new automated machine learning job. Okay, the job name is automatically populated. I would leave it as it is. Here, I would select a new experiment, and I will call this experiment, I will call it MS-Learn. I will copy it from here, from the exercise, and paste it here. The description is something is for you in order to see or to understand later if you get to review anything related to different jobs you are doing. This is just things that are for you. The description is something not required or obligatory, so you can write it or you cannot, but I always advise to type the description in order to, if you later need to understand what you were doing. Now we have to select the task type. What is the task type we are going to select? Since we are going to use a table that contains numbers and we need to have data from these numbers or get expectations or results from these numbers, the best model to select is the regression. Regression is made for numbers. As you can see here, we have the different algorithms, the classification, regression, time series forecasting, natural language processing, and we have computer vision. Since we are dealing with a table, or we are going to deal with a table that contains number, I would select the regression, okay, and create a new data set, the data set which is the table that we are going to use, okay? I'll press here, and I will select create a new data set. What is the name of this data set? It will be called bike rentals. I'm creating a table here. It's something, and this is an explanation. Okay. What is the type? As you can see here, we have different types. We have data asset types from Azure Machine Learning. We have that table. We have data types of tabular. I would select this one as the exercise requires. So I will be using a table. Next, where am I going to get this table from? This table is already downloaded. You can download it from a resource that is called, this is the resource. I will select and will show you here. Okay. Let me move this away. I will press here. This is the resource. As you can see, it will start downloading directly. You will need to unzip the file and put it somewhere on your computer. So then you will be selecting from local files. I already did that. I will go from here. As you can see, from a local type, it is the destination as it is already an Azure. Where is it going to be loaded to? It will be loaded to a storage that was created on the first task. The data store is an Azure Blob Storage. The Azure Blob Storage is a container, or let's imagine it like a hard disk that can hold data. Now the name would be the same as here. We just select this and the table. Okay. And now I would go with next. The folder is already downloaded. I would select upload the folder. I would select bike data. I have downloaded into my local disk, as you can see here. I pulled the folder ML data. Okay. I will upload the folder. So as you can see here, it contains two files. One file is CSV and one file is a ML table. I will press on next. So it now will be creating a table that I will be using. Okay. You give it some seconds so that it will be created. Here I can select the bike rental. This is the data I am going to use, and we'll go with next. Now I would need to select the file or the column I want this model to start working on. So as you can see here, I would select the rentals. This is the target column. It will take the numbers from. Here I would go with additional configuration. We will be selecting, let me just move this another time, sorry. It will be selecting normalized root mean square error. It is already selected. Here it asks you to unselect all these. Okay. And the allowed models, we have different models. If you can see, these are the models that it will be using for the learning. So it asks you in the exercise to keep only the random forest and the light GBM. Okay. After that, we will be adding some limits. These are the trials that we need to add, we add how many times it should repeat, how many concurrent trials, how many nodes we are going to be using. All this will be explained related to our training, so don't worry. I'm just going with the exercise to make you familiar with the environment. Okay, all of this will be explained, will be understanding everything of these details. I'm just now creating this exercise with you to put your hands on the labs, that's all. So the experiment time out will be 15 minutes and iteration also 15 and enable termination selected. I'm just following the exercise. Again, I will put the exercise in front of you just to see what I am doing, okay? So I'm just selecting this and I'm just giving you an idea about how things go just to make you familiar if you need to read more or to understand what we are going to do, and this will be explained, so no worries. Okay, related to validation and test, train validation split. Okay, this is the validation split. The percentage as is, I will keep it, and none, I will keep as is also. I'll press on next. Here is, we are creating the, or giving the computing power that will work on our data. So I am using a serverless, I'm creating a computer for this machine learning to work on. Okay, I am using a CPU, it is a dedicated, and here I can select the size of the computer I need in order to work on my machine learning. So here, because we are working on a small data, we do not need a huge computer or a big computer with big processing and fast CPUs or fast big RAMs. So I'm going to select this one, which is the, we can, if you can see here, we can select much bigger or we can select smaller. We have, and we have the cost of each of these per hour. So I would select this one and the number of instances is 1. I will press on next. Then after that, I can press on the job, submit the training job. Okay. Now, what is happening? The training job will start. Here will be starting. This will be starting. What is this job going to do is to study the information or the data we supplied by the machine learning or supply to the machine learning, and it will just start analyzing the information and give us the results that we want. Okay, this might take up to 10 minutes. After that, it can be deployed into an endpoint, into a PC or into a website or a web application, and you can start running this model and using this model. After it finishes here, it will show you the output, the best model, and the details about the things that are extracted from this training job. And then you can, as I told you, we can go after that into what we call the deploying to a virtual machine where we can start deploying it onto an endpoint or whatever. So this is in general what is going to happen. Which I don't know if we can wait or we have the time to wait for that. But in general, this is how we start a machine learning job. Let me now jump, wait, let's wait for that and jump to the chat and see questions coming from your side. Okay, let's start with the questions. Muhammad is asking, let's start with, there is one question. I told you to wait until we have all the questions. Okay. Not yet. Everything is perfect. Not yet here. How do we get access? I guess this one is answered from Solange's side. Can we make a Teams group so we can share our problems and collaborate? We already have the Q&A. It should be active. But can you please, Solange, help us with that? Or tell them we have the Q&A. You can go to the Q&A, ask questions, and I will deploy.
Yeah, they can use this chat to ask questions if they want.
Okay.
To better prepare you, I'm not sure if you accept Khalid, can we create a WhatsApp group?
Create, sorry, what?
Like a WhatsApp group. It will be like a channel.
I have no problem.
So,
From my side, it's okay. I can do anything for the people here. You can
okay.
create whatever, and I would be
So
willing to help everyone.
let me create it and put the chat in the chat here the link. So if we will
Okay.
post for them the videos and everything as well. So
Okay.
Khalid, you already have the video recorded for the first session. Can you put the link here in the chat
Yes,
and I will send it by
I will share
email
you
as
the
well.
link. It
Okay.
is on my YouTube channel. You can see that. I will select it here and I will give you all the details in a second because there's some question I would need to answer before the time ends. Okay, and this is where you can Control V. Okay, this is related to the training of the last time. How much information? Let me just make sure that I am following the questions. How much information should we or should be collected as minimum or per average? Can you just explain more about your question? The document, and I will answer Mr. this question from Aisha. Yes, Aisha, we have a resource. I will send that to you. Let me just put here on the chat also, where you can read everything related to what I'm talking about. Okay. Please let me know if it is okay with you, Aisha. Now we have Muhammad. Muhammad Yusuf, you have asked a question. Can you just tell me more? What do you mean by that? You gave the ML and Excel file containing bike data, which included the price. Okay, okay, where did the question go? Okay, include the price. I'm asking how much data should be collected. Okay, this is up to the model you are trying to train. There are some minimum ratios for the minimum training. Like, for example, if we are giving an example to a model to train on Excel files, whatever they contain. So at least minimum is a 5 count of any data that needs to be trained on. This is in simple training. But if we have large data and we have different features and different labels, we should give or support more samples and examples. So the more samples given in the training, the more accurate results we get from the model. Is that clear for you? Join this group. Let me join with you and I would say hello on the group. So guys, this is my saying hello. Okay, this is me. Whenever you need to ask anything, please let me know, and I would be more than happy to help you there at any time, no problem. So before we let's see the model again. It is still running, as you can see. The most important thing is to see here, whenever we see this is, I'm going to show you on the next session, do not worry. But here, as you can see, the training model is still working. Solange, may I ask a question, please?
Yes, sure, Khaled, go ahead.
Uh, if sometimes, like in this happening today, sometimes we might need to extend the training maybe 10, 15, uh, I don't know, minutes.
Yeah, it's fine, I guess.
It's fine if they, but because today we are giving just an example, but on the
Yeah.
next session we are going to just start the practical, so it is not, I guess, enough.
As long as it is recorded, Khaled, and
Yeah.
they can come back to it, it's fine.
Okay, that's great. Okay, that's great. Thank you so much. So guys, before we end today's session, do you have any questions? Do you have any comments? Do you have any recommendations that might help you further? As I told you today, and the first day were just introductory so that you can get understanding of the portal. How do we do things? How do we start things? On the next sessions coming next Monday, we are going to start getting our hands on our target directly, starting with a real job related to the video manipulation. But I showed you these demonstrations to make you get familiar with the portal, and also I sent you the resources that you can read and have additional reading, and don't hesitate to go to Google, to YouTube or whatever, to MS Learn, in order to just prepare for yourselves for what is coming next. So if you need to ask anything, of course, we can integrate this ML or any ML job with Visual Studio Code with an API. Sure, we can do that. We have someone here who is going further from our training or targets. A great question, Muhammad. Yes, of course, we can use it with Visual Studio. We can use Python. We can use C++. We can use Java, and we can integrate it with any API. Exactly. And this is something I'm going to show you during the trainings. Don't worry. You are welcome. So guys, again, do you have any questions? Do you have anything? As you can see here on my shared screen, the automated job is being running. It is almost, I guess, it will be almost done. Okay. As you can see, it is done. Here you can see that the job is completed. Here you can see that we have the best model summary. Here it is. As you can see, it is voting is ensemble. This is the best model used, and everything related to this model is being done. So this model is being trained and it is okay. So on the next time, before we move to the sessions related, we can go and see some of the results coming from these models that we have created. And now, since this is the best model, it is being done, we can just go and deploy this model into a real-time endpoint, or maybe to a batch endpoint, or maybe to a web service or an application. Here we can see the generated codes related to that. Okay, as you can see, this is the coding related to what we were talking about. Okay, as you can see, this is the script. And we have a lot of things that we can explain and show to you on the next session. I hope you enjoyed today. You got benefits from our lesson today. We have much more to benefit from. So I would thank you for your presence. And we have now the WhatsApp group. Whenever you need to ask anything, please do not hesitate. Ask, and I be more than happy to help you. Okay? So on the next time, I will show you how do we deploy what we have done today in a fast way, and we start with our model that, or our target that is related to um, video performance or video editing or video manipulation. If I have a powerful machine, would you recommend I attempt to learn ML from it? If I have a powerful machine, would you recommend I attempt to learn ML from it? If I'm getting you correctly, yes, I would recommend that if I am getting you correctly. If you elaborate more about this question, it would be great. Guys, if you like the ones who would like to leave the session, it's okay. If anyone has more questions, I am here, still here. Uh, Feel free to stay or to leave until we end the session, until we answer all the questions. And if Muhammad needs to elaborate more about the question, please let me know. Okay, okay. If you can install your environment on your powerful machine, if you have all the knowledge to do that, you can do it. But since these credits are offered to you and they are free, why not create it on Azure? Because everything in Azure is prepared for you. Maybe you will need this or that. Here we have all the requirements ready. So you do not need to bother yourself creating or doing things. But of course, if you like to do that as to test things, I would surely uh, not recommend it. I will surely support you because I love, like, this is the way I improved my knowledge by fetching and doing things and trying and testing everything. It's a great idea, but it's easier for you to use Azure. But if you like to do that on your powerful PC, I surely support that and I would give you any help needed. No worries.